Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited that you wanted to come on an episode.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I haven't gotten a chance to How many do you have out?
I only have I have another one ready to come out, but like I only have one guesting episode published, but then there's a few more that I did like before the holidays.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I wasn't sure if this was like something you did weekly or like every certain whatever. I haven't like really seen too much.
Yeah, I naturally had the idea like right before Christmas and New Year's, and I was like, maybe this wasn't the best time to start something up.
Oh my goodness. Wait, that's like really recent.
Yeah, so I did not plan accordingly because, naturally with the holidays and family, you don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
So I am hoping to start getting more on a schedule because, like I said, I have multiple people scheduled and lined up, and then plus non-guest episodes as well. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
the very first on here. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
yeah, you're
All right, cool.
I absolutely loved Daring Destiny, and I know that is one thing that you would like to discuss on your episode today. And so, do you want to like tell the readers
Yeah.
a little bit about it? Because I loved it.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you loved it. Thank you for reading it. Which we've talked about already. But yeah, so Daring Destiny is the second book. I call it the Maple Grove series. In reality, it's a duet. It's just the two stories. But it's I guess you could call it sequel to Beautifully Broken, which was my debut novel. Um, but it's the two best friends of Beautifully Broken's main characters. Which is Jay and Claire. In Daring Destiny, it's Chloe and Ronan. And they were best friends, kind of had like a little something going on. No one was really sure what it was. And you kind of get to watch two different sides of their relationship because it's dual point of view. So we see about a year of them going from that friends to lovers and what that looks like in their relationship. And then the now, as you know, is actually after their breakup. So it's kind of like it's so weird as a romance book to start in a breakup, but a little different. Yeah, so we kind of get to see how they were, how they are, and how they come back together.
I thought that arc, like you said, it is like not your norm to like start out a romance book with that.
Yeah.
That was so like it was so good though, and like who doesn't love some
Oh, thank
like
you.
dating and everything? Because I mean that's just like one of the greatest tropes. Anyway,
Yeah, is that one of your favorites, fake dating?
actually, yes, it's like in my top three.
Is it? No, I love it. Well, and it's so funny because it's like, is it fake dating if it's your ex? Like, I get, so
Yeah,
that's kind of like, it was hard to put these, and I was just talking to an author friend about this. It's hard to put stories sometimes into those like trope boxes. And I'm not like a trope writer. Like, I don't set out to be like, oh, I want to write friends to lovers, or I want to write, enemies to lovers, whatever. Um, so when I was trying to kind of see where this story fit into, I'm like, it's like friends to lovers, but then they break up, then they're fake dating, then it's almost like second chance, but is it? Because it's like 3 weeks, like that's not like they've been broken up for, normally second chance is like decades later.
right.
So yeah, it was it's interesting. I like to keep things a little bit different. So hopefully it was a good thing.
It was a great thing, and like you said, and that way, like, readers going in, like, they won't know really what to expect, like, not being
Yeah.
put in the box. So, you have, like, a lot of, shocking things that you might not actually get, and I loved that it was dual point of view as far as and then also, like, dual timeline, like, that was awesome.
Yeah. The dual timeline, it's interesting because I haven't read many books that way. Like normally it is dual point of view, um, the guy and the girl. So doing it kind of all from Chloe's perspective was different as a writer because when you're doing it from two people, you have to be two people. So when it was just the time frames that were different, I got to really like be Chloe. Like I was just Chloe the whole time. So like that's how my like she just was who I was when I was writing. So yeah, it was interesting. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, it was really fun because I've read several that's either, like, multiple point of view or, like, multiple timelines or both, and so it's
Okay.
It is really interesting because you think how the author has to get in a headspace, like you said, because you literally have to tell the same thing from 2 different people's perspectives
Yeah.
with not being so repetitive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why I thought that this one was kind of interesting because for me, I've read dual timelines before, and if they're dual point of view, sometimes it's hard for me to keep up
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, it's now, but I'm her, but back then, and I'm him, and it's just like, and so I try to simplify it, but yeah, it ended up working out really well. So at least that's how I like to think of it.
It did because it was like you said, with it being just Chloe, it was really easy to follow, and, like, you didn't get lost at any point in the story, and you was able to see, like, where they were and then, like, where they are now and, like, all the, trials that they're having to face this time around, so
Yeah, it was almost like I was writing two different stories, which was fun because it was like their past story and their current story. Yeah, I really liked it.
I loved it, and then naturally, like, anytime you get, like, a friend group is really fun, so I love seeing how they
Yeah.
all
Yeah, a lot of feedback that I've gotten is that they really liked how much Jay and Claire from book 1 were in the story because oftentimes when the sequels are just like a new relationship, you don't get so much of the old relationship, which I totally understand. Like as an author, it's kind of like, okay, well, I already told their story. And as a reader, it's like we already know their story. So a lot of times, they pop in here and there, but it's not really about them. But Daring Destiny really truly, it's the four of them, like the whole time, pretty
Yeah.
much. So yeah, it was fun to have those characters back.
Well, speaking of, like you said, Beautifully Broken was the first one, like, how was it different getting in the headspace to create the sequel to that? Like
Yeah, so it's funny because I did not set out to write Beautifully Broken at all. I sat down actually to write this is so crazy, but my dad passed away a few years ago and I sat down to write like stories about his life and his life was very similar to Jameson's story and so like that's where all like I sat down and I wrote the prologue. Like that's a true story that happened. I don't know if you've read Beautifully Broken yet, but like the prologue of that is a true story from my dad's life. So like that's where I started. And then like hours later I have this like romance book. And it just kind of like poured out. And so yeah, it was crazy. And so for Daring Destiny, it was very different how I went about writing that because it didn't just pour out. I had like a purpose in writing it. I had like to
yeah.
plan it and plot it. And so yeah, it was very different.
Yeah, wow, I was not expecting that. I have not got to read Beautifully Broken yet, but I'm definitely diving into that one next because
Yeah.
I met you through this one, and I'm just like, I love this one so much, and I think knowing that story, like, backstory about the book is gonna, like, make it even more special to read it. So
Oh,
I'm
I love that. Yeah. And they are just interconnected. Like you don't have to have read I actually when I was doing betas and stuff for Daring Destiny, I purposely reached out to a couple people who I knew hadn't read Beautifully Broken because I wanted to make sure that they weren't lost or anything and it could be read separately. So,
right.
yeah, definitely go back and check it out after.
Yeah, I will definitely be doing that because like I said, I was, like, annotating, like, all in different little
Oh,
highlights.
I love it.
Loved your writing so much and the way you phrase stuff, and it was just really, really fun to get to experience, and I'm happy
Oh,
I got to read this
thank
one.
you. Yeah, no, I have like loved the feedback. Good, bad, ugly. I just love people like bringing me along for the ride. That's like my favorite part. So, yeah, thank you.
Do you have, like, a favorite thing, like, leading up to a release? Like, do you like to, figure out, like, "Okay, I'm gonna start, like, teasing this quote," or, like, how do you make those decisions? Because I can't imagine how hard that would be, like, choosing your
Oof.
book baby.
Yeah, it's funny because you like have certain there's certain quotes that kind of summarize the story, right? Like so it kind of makes sense. So for this one, I don't know if I'm going to nail it specifically, but it's like it's almost like we're strangers but we're not at all. So like that's kind of like summed up Daring Destiny. Beautifully Broken, there's like more of like him kind of feeling like he's fallen apart and her putting him back together sort of thing. So you pull quotes out that you think like sell your story, but that's why when I have people read the book, I always ask them what their favorite quotes are, because sometimes the quotes that hit people are not even on my radar. You
Yeah,
know, like people will tell me their favorite parts of like my books, and it's not that I don't remember writing them, but I'm like, really? That part, that little part, that stuck out to you, and which I think is so cool. It's so telling of how like every book hits someone different, you know?
exactly.
But as far as like, yeah, as far as advertising goes, I mean, of course you pick quotes that you like and that, tell your story, but sometimes people just pop in and tell me one they like, and I'm like, oh cool, let's do something with that one, because you can't be the only one, so maybe if it sells it in that sort of sense to someone else. So yeah, it's a whole game. That marketing thing, whew, that's a job. It's a job on its own.
People don't really realize how much work actually goes into like writing is somewhat the easy part, like for indie authors, like
Yeah.
because no one, unless you have either been in the industry or you're active on Bookstagram or Book Talk and see like the process that everybody has to go through, you don't know really that it does take a village, but like a lot of the times you're most of the village.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I went into, like I said, Beautifully Broken. I truly was like going to publish it for a copy on my bookshelf, and that was it. And then when beta readers were like, "Oh, it's really, you should get like actually publish this for the world." I was like, "Okay." And so I like made a social media and put it out for a week and then released it the next week. Like I was like, I didn't realize people advertised for a year first, and I didn't even have ARC readers for Beautifully Broken. Like I just threw it into the world and hoped it would fly. And
I think it was a success, and I'm very happy as
oh, well, thank
a lot
you.
of the readers are. So
Well, thank you. But yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, because I with Daring Destiny, I see now like how much it really is. How
yeah.
hard.
Well, I know you said that this was like basically a duet, but like, do you see yourself like I don't know if you used to like to plan to write, or like is that something you always wanted to do, or like you said, was it just like you sat down trying to write about your dad's life, or like do you think you're two and done, or do you think you want to keep creating these stories?
No, so I actually love it so much. This series is done. I've been asked several times to do maybe like novellas or like bonus chapters, things like that, like to tell their story. But I think the Maple Grove is kind of finished, but I am working on my next series, which is going to be 4 new books. The first one is done. It's with betas. It's ready to rock and roll.
Oh my,
I know, I'm so excited. I have not even like for 1 second advertised it, but I'm really excited. It's a little different. So
that's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that because
yeah.
I'm the first in line, believe me.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. That's awesome.
Reading this, like, it was so fun, and then, like I said, now I know that I'm getting to go back and, like, read the first one in the series, but, like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, when you have like you said, you didn't really plan on writing Beautifully Broken, but, like, for Daring Destiny, did you is that something that took maybe 2 months to write and complete, or was it something that was, like, half a year of work, or, like, how quickly did you get to complete that process?
Yeah. So the writing itself for both books happened very quickly. I would say probably 2 months is a good uh guess. Like you said, for me the writing's the easy part. And that's not to say it's easy, but it's
Right.
the part that you kind of purpose to set time for, and your heart's really in it, and it kind of spews out when it's the right time. So I do tend to write books really fast compared to maybe some others. That's not to say the process is 2 months. You have
Right.
alphas and betas and edits and things like that. But yeah, they both of them probably took about 2 months. Daring Destiny maybe a little longer because it wasn't so natural.
Right.
Um, but I also, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because, well, I guess that's not true because it's not both bad things, but like it's, you know, the author in me is losing the metaphors and the similes. Um, the one side, you know, like it wasn't as natural, it didn't just like flow out. But on the other side, I had more experience. So
Yeah,
the two kind of, I think, canceled each other out and kept it at the same time frame. Um, yeah, so just a couple of months.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Are you a writer at all? I don't know if we've talked about that side of us.
Well, not like technically, but like
Okay.
several years ago, I actually started writing a book and then
Oh,
sort of put it away. And I was just like, I want to do this for me. It's a hobby.
yeah, sure.
And so, and then I actually didn't start like reading again or even join Instagram, like in the book world, till like, I think it was like September or August.
Okay.
Like I actually started reading in like January of last year. And I was just like,
Okay.
okay, I love this. I need to start reading again because I used to love it years ago. So
Yeah.
I picked that back up, and then like now lately, like being in the bookish world so much, I'm like, I have like certain stories like taking form in my head, and I'm just like, I might want to pick this one back up again. I might
Yeah,
share it with the world, but like at least I would do it for me because like I've already got a title, I've
for
already got
sure.
the plot.
Oh,
So I'm just like, it's fun for me anyway.
that's half the battle. That title thing, man. People, I don't know how people come up with some people are like, "Oh, I have the next 4 books planned and all the titles." I'm like, "What? Did you write the story yet?" I'm like jealous of people who can do that. But that's awesome. That's how I got started too. I just started reading and read like an insane amount of books in just like a short period of time and was like, what better research than just to read? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, obviously you can work on your actual skill of writing, you know, but what better way to to kind of expose yourself to all sorts of writing than to just read?
Yeah, exactly. It's basically just like the 101 that you would like take and
Yeah.
you brush up and like, strengthen any that you want to, like any of your abilities. But like you said, that's the perfect way to introduce you to that. And so,
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. Look, one day we'll reverse roles and I'll interview you about your book and it'll be great.
oh, thank you. That's very sweet.
Is it a romance?
Of course.
Of course. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
come on.
Just making sure. I mean, obviously. I wasn't sure. Don't you read fantasy? Yes?
I read everything.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I wasn't sure if we were going romantasy, romance,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not saying never, but like I don't know if I would have the mindset to be able to create a fantasy or romantasy and like make it believable
Sure.
because like I hats off to all authors who do.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I just think it would be I would feel like is this believable to the point of where it doesn't sound like a bunch of random creatures or facts,
Yeah.
doesn't add up. That
Yeah.
would be fun. But so never say never, but yeah, I think I'm definitely going to be starting with a romance if that's where I end up actually
Well,
starting.
that's awesome.
Thank
That's awesome. I can't wait to see your journey then.
you.
Yeah, of course.
So like what's your favorite genres or like authors? Because like I know you write romance, but like
Yeah.
to read.
Yeah, so definitely romance. I do enjoy a good like thriller on occasion. I cannot, don't come for me, guys. I cannot read fantasy. Like I can't. I can't. I've tried. If it was like in show form, great, like Game of Thrones, like whatever. I can watch it. It's not the actual story. It's just like the understanding. Like I'm there's a disconnect. Um, so for me, it's definitely reading. I love Emily Henry. Um, literally like every book of hers. Happy Place is like my favorite book of all time. Um, Chloe Walsh, in the middle of Redeeming Six right now. I've already read the others. Have you read them yet?
No, but I've wanted to for so long.
Oof. Yeah, they're good ones. Redeeming Six is not Saving Six was better.
Mhm.
But I think that's sometimes how it always is, right? You're like introduced to the characters in the first one, so then you're kind of like, okay, I get it by now. But all of her books are great that I've read. obviously like Kristen Hanna. I mean, you can't go wrong with her.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
an angel. But yeah, I mean, just, the usuals. And then I've been really enjoying reading my friends' books. Like, I mean, honestly, besides Chloe Walsh, which I'm actually listening to, um, I haven't read a book not by an indie author in ages,
Yeah,
just because I'm like trying to keep up with my friends and betas and, everything else. So that's kind of what I've been into recently.
I love that. Indie authors deserve just as much hype. That's like the whole reason I
For
started
sure.
class, the whole reason I started arc reading on the daily, and because it's, you know, some of my absolute favorite reads have been indie authors.
I love it.
And I think it's just so special when you find people and like, because otherwise may not have heard of the book, not because it's not good, but just because there's not
Sure.
word of mouth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I know for me too, like with Bookstagram and everything else, like you almost feel like you know these people. I mean, and for me, I do know a lot of them, so reading their work, you can kind of like hear it in their voice in it, and you can, text them about it, talk to them about it. So it's like a whole experience, I think, where like not like Emily Henry wouldn't answer your messages maybe, but maybe she doesn't have the time. Um, where if I'm reading one of my friend's books and I, just call her and talk about it or message her on Instagram and talk about it, yeah, it's really fun.
I love that so much. It's so
Yeah.
magical.
So yeah, it is. And like I mean, the community out there is so awesome,
It
you
is.
know? Yeah. That's been really cool.
'Cause, like, I battled for, like, I don't know, most of the year. Cause like I said, I think I didn't even start my page until right into July, beginning of August, but even then, I wasn't, like, fully committed or, posting all the time, actually,
Sure.
so I was just starting out, and so I would watch BookTube, and have you ever watched, like, BookTube YouTube videos?
No, but I've heard that that's a thing. I am like so bad. Like I don't have a TikTok, nothing. I literally do Instagram, the end. That's like all of my energy. Yeah. I'm so bad.
That makes sense, though. A lot of people don't like a whole lot of the socials 'cause it can get overwhelming, but I just fell into, like, a binge hole of
Love
watching
it.
BookTube videos, and I was just like, "I would like to do that," because it's people that enjoy reading, it's people that enjoy authors, and it's a whole other community that you get to
Yeah.
experience and understand what you love so much, and I was just like, "I need to hop onto that trend for myself."
It is. It's like a different experience. Like I obviously have my personal page still, so
Yeah.
sometimes I'll bounce back and forth and like I go on my personal page and I'm like, oh my good. It's like I'm like overwhelmed. There's like 100,000 different types of people that I follow and that follow and like, it's like a video about food and then a book video and then like my friend from high school and sometimes I'm like because I'm so used to my author page that's like authors and readers and here are books that we love, like the end.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
So, yeah, but it's been fun
yeah, it's really fun because like you don't really know until you actually see it for yourself, like how loving a community can be or like
for sure.
how easy it is to connect with people. Cause like we met through like a Facebook group
I know.
and
That's
now
insane.
I've arc read your second novel and we're doing a show together. So
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, I literally, some of like my best friends at this point that I talk to every single day, like, never even met them in real life.
yeah,
Like, that's insane to me. It's insane.
I love that. It's actually funny because my absolute best friend, we have known each other for 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
And we didn't even meet until almost a little over 2 years ago in real life.
No way. How did that come about?
It's actually really funny. Have you heard of the band One Direction? Like, I'm sure you know One
Yes.
Direction.
Yeah. I'm not that old. Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, I should have known you would know One Direction because, like, your I love when books have playlists.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that. It was
You
so
got it.
many my favorites in there.
I
Um,
love it.
but yeah, we actually met through One Direction fan pages.
Cool.
So we started talking every day. And then, we had, like, 6 years of friendship, and
Okay.
got tickets to see the band Big Time Rush.
Yes.
And so we met through One Direction. We crack up all the time. And then we met at Big Time Rush.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's awesome. Is that the only time you've seen her?
um yeah, so far actually. And we really want to meet up again. And because she don't live very far from me. I live in Kentucky, but it's about like a 6 hour
Okay.
drive.
Okay.
And so we've been planning to get to meet up again because we
Yeah,
in person is so much fun. Like
for
naturally
sure.
text and talk about everything, but like in person, nothing can beat that. So we're hoping to plan another meetup soon. But yeah, you really
Yeah,
don't expect how you can build these relationships with people that you don't know, but you do like in real life. Like you said, with your
you
author,
do.
it's really something.
It's actually yeah, it's crazy, and, like I say all the time, I'm like, people would think that there's, like, something weird going on if I said, this person I talk to every day, voice message with every day, talk on I've never met them, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like I'm being, catfished or something, like they're
Yeah.
my snuffleupagus, but whatever generation you're from, whatever way you wanna think about it. But yeah, it's true, like, I mean, and some of these people are so supportive. I mean, like, my street team is, like, the most supportive group of people, and I think I know, like, 3 of them outside of
Yeah.
Instagram, and it's just crazy, like, I just can't would never have guessed that this would be, like, the best part of the journey is just, like, meeting everyone, but I could not be more grateful for, like, everyone that I've met. It's awesome.
Well, I'm so happy you decided to join Bookstagram and sharing
Uh,
work with everybody because I love seeing like even when I was looking at it, like just the reviews are like glowing for your book. So you
oh,
are
thank
doing what
you.
you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, well, thank you. Everyone who, has read it and has left a review and talked to me about it and slid in my DMs, like truly, it's just like incredible. I always say, like, I present myself, whether I have one reader or a million readers, the same way. Like, I don't see myself kind of changing that. Like, I just am who I am. But to see people actually choose to pick up my book is,
Yeah.
besides like my mom, it is really cool. So, yeah, every time there's, like, a review and I'm like, "I don't even know that person." Like, that blows my mind.
Yeah, it's really
So,
special when you get to see like how many people can like or like you was talking earlier, like if there's a quote that maybe you might not think much of or
yeah,
like, not that you knew it when you wrote it that you wanted to write it, but like
sure.
maybe it's just like reading is subjective and that's like while some books might be 3 stars for some people it might be someone else's 5 star because they connect
For
with the
sure.
story and they feel the words and they feel like that was made for them. So I think it's really fun getting to see all different aspects with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I mean. Like, I have had people tell me their favorite quotes are like something Claire said, like about her mom. And it's like, I would have never, like in a romance book, you would have never assumed it'd be something like that, but it just hits someone differently and the vibes and everything. So, yeah, my favorite thing to say is my book is not for everyone, but it's for someone,
Yeah,
And so
that.
that's why I say, like, I'm just gonna keep showing up. It doesn't matter if there's one person or a million. I'm just gonna keep showing up, and we'll see who lands upon the story.
I love that.
So,
Exactly.
thank you. So,
Did you
yeah.
have a favorite, like, moment while writing? Well, actually, either one of your books, but, like, behind the scenes, like, "Okay, I wrote this scene," and, like, actually feel like, have that overwhelming feeling, like, of connection with it. Of
Yeah. So, a lot of Beautifully Broken was like that because the story was so personal. Like Jay, a lot of his like background, obviously not him as like a character, but his background story was my dad's actual life. And so a lot of that, like, especially with my dad not being here anymore, like it was kind of like, oh, I hope he felt that at some point in his life. Like I hope he had that acceptance that Jay feels, or like kind of like me feeling that kind of connection. I would say too, there's more just like little things that I'm like, where did that come from? But it works,
yeah.
all of a sudden Chloe is this girl who wears graphic t-shirts all the time. And it's
Oh
like,
my
I just pull these sayings like out of my, out of nowhere. And that's, so, by the end, it's like who she is. I'm like, where did that even come from? Like, where did
love
that come from?
I love that so much, and, like, see a next one in another scene, and I'm just like, "Oh, oh, we got another one, this is awesome."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like, how they end up like saying I love you to each other. It's like, I love you, you little sasshole. Like,
Yeah,
where did that come from? Why did I even think of that? But that's the kind of like magic that just happens. Not that it's magic, but like the creativity. It's like,
yeah,
okay, I feel like I was a little bit meant to do this sometimes when those like light bulbs go off.
exactly. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back and reread that line because did he just say sasshole?"
People are like, is that a typo?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know. I have a couple things like that where I'm like, I hope they don't think that's a mistake. Like, between all the books. But yeah, it's just fun. I always say like once it stops being fun, that's when I don't want to write another book. So for now, it's just fun. I'm just gonna keep going.
Exactly, and they say, like, if you do what you love, it's never work. So it's like you said, as long
Exactly.
as you're, like, having fun and enjoying doing this for everybody, like, I think you're doing great to, like it's so amazing that you want to do that and want to share your work with the world because we love it, as you can tell.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and it's like so much work. Like I have 3 kids, all 5 and under, and
Oh my
I
god.
work I work from home. Like I have a job. So
Yeah,
writing is so much work. Like it just gets fit into pockets of my day. And so like if it wasn't fun, what would be the point? Like I would just be wasting so much time. Because I mean, I don't know if this is a surprise to anyone, but I'm not making millions on my book on my books just yet. So just yet,
not
but
yet, but soon.
right, exactly. We're gonna put that into existence. But no, like so if it's not about the money. So if I'm not having fun, then literally what's it about? You
Exactly,
know?
that's the point if you're not
Right.
it
I
takes
could fill my 10 free minutes some other way, trust me, than
yeah,
making content or, whatever, editing.
exactly, I
Yeah.
love that, and especially that you got 3 little ones and you still find the time to do that. That is just so
Yeah, nap time, early mornings, and late nights. They're your best friends, I'm telling you.
I know.
Yeah.
That would
So,
have to be the key, things there to
yeah.
because even a lot of my work as, like, a PA, I do it as, like, either early in the morning or late at night, and it's just
Yeah.
whenever you can find time, and so I think that's really, really great.
Right. And you get it. Like, you're not, it's not your I mean, maybe is this your full-time job, just podcast and bookstagram?
Right now, yeah, but, like
That's awesome.
so it is really fun, and I do have more time to, like, create and all that, and like I said, I naturally started a YouTube and
Oh
podcast
my gosh.
right before Christmas, so that
Yeah.
had a few videos, and now it's, like, been a couple months besides I did put my last, book space chatter is what I call these, so I did put my last
Yeah.
episode of that on there, and so I think
Cool.
I'm able to start, uploading again, but, yeah, so right now I'm just doing Bookstagram, I arc read every day, and then I work as an author PA, so that's basically
Okay.
at the time, and
Okay.
we shall see what the future holds, but, yeah, full time right now, that's what I'm doing, and it's
That's amazing though. But like the podcast, so you're not making necessarily millions of dollars off of
right.
it, but and so to find that time to carve it out, you have to enjoy it.
Exactly, and the whole reason I wanted to start it was because I was like, I want people to hear of these books that are not just, not just only Fourth Wing or Thorn.
Right.
You need to bring awareness of like, okay, there's some other books out here that maybe you haven't heard of, but you should. And so
Yeah.
I wanted it to like solely focus on like, I mean, naturally, if I have a chance to have Sarah J. Mass on an episode, I would jump on it. But
You wouldn't turn her away.
no, I would not. I would let her. No,
But
seriously.
no, yeah, I get that.
I
And
just
like breaking the stigma of it too,
yeah,
like, oh, it's an indie book, it's probably not that good. It's like,
exactly.
well, a lot of us chose this path.
Exactly.
So,
Of us will pick up an indie book over a best or like when you'll see on the shelf at Barnes and Noble, like because they're just that good. And
yeah,
because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean you shouldn't read it.
for sure. No, well, I appreciate you. Any any support is awesome for our world, for sure.
That is very sweet of you to say. I have loved to meet everybody and I'm just so thankful to be here and that I get to do this. So
No, it's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you speaking of writing, do you have any rituals that you have to like a certain drink you have to have with you or a certain song or a certain playlist? I love seeing
Yeah.
my authors' heads.
So I wouldn't say because I just kind of fit it in pockets of time, I wouldn't say I have the availability to create some sort of ritual. Like if my kids are entertained for 20 minutes, that's my 20 minutes, but I will say there's nothing better than putting my 2-year-old who's still home with me down for a nap and cracking an Alani and sitting down and reading like that or writing, I'm sorry, or reading, but
Yeah.
that is like my piece right there. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. There's something about the crisp, like
Yeah.
that's and then just having 2 hours where I know I don't have to answer to anyone else.
I love that.
That's peace. That's my Super Bowl.
Yeah. As a football girly, that is the awesome.
I love it. Yes, I wouldn't say ritual, but definitely preference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, do you have any I know we're getting short on time, but do you have anything
sure.
coming up this year, like any signings or any news that you'd like to hint
Yeah.
at for everybody listening?
So I'm hoping to do a signing in the New Jersey area shortly, sort of by like the beaches. My author friend, well, and real life friend, Kelly Cook and I are hoping to meet there. Yeah, so there I'll drop all the information if it actually works out, but that's supposed to be coming in May. Um, I'm hoping to release the first of my new series in the summer, so like June or July. I have a couple like secret projects going on that may happen towards like the end of 2025. Just lots of things in the works. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely things happening. Um, Definitely things happening that are like really big and exciting. Yeah, I'm full steam ahead.
That is very exciting, and I was not expecting that possibly so soon for your next series, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I it's supposed to be 4 books, and so I'm thinking if I can get maybe 1 or 2 out this year and 1 or 2 next year, that'll be good timing for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
and
will
then of course, Daring Destiny comes out in a week,
exactly. I mean,
March 1st, depending on when this gets posted. Yeah,
yeah, it could already be yours, or it could be yours.
exactly, exactly.
It,
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah. Well, it's been so fun chatting with you today. Thank you for coming
Yeah,
on here.
no, thank you. This has been great. Like even just chatting with you, period. Like we talk
Yeah,
all the time on Instagram, but it's been
yeah,
nice to like actually have a conversation. So I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
yeah. It feels like we haven't missed a beat.
I know.
It's been so fun, and I love getting to
Exactly.
talk about everything with you. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
If
of course.
you could, um, I will leave your Instagram and everything in the description
Yeah.
box where all the listeners can find you and see what all's happening. But would you like to say 3 words that would sum up Daring Destiny?
So I would say the 3 words that would probably sum up all of my writing are romance, angst, and humor.
That's
That's how I like to that's how I like to portray myself. And I hope they're funny, but
they are.
definitely the angst.
I love that so much.
Yeah, so
Well, thank you so much for being on. I had a blast with you. And everybody, please go check out Daring Destiny by Cassandra. And if it's out now, go read it.
awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you guys later.